This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 353, 2021 Sales Goal Setting. A solo episode with me, Pat Helmers.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. It's Pat Helmers, and this is the 2020 Goals Show. And I know you're probably thinking, do I really need to do this right now? Next week, I'm going to go into work, and the boss is going to give me all these goals, and they're going to be crazy and stupid and unattainable. They're not going to be a win-win. They're going to be a win-lose. And do I really need this frustration this week? I can appreciate that. You're in a tough spot. But this is the thing, and why I want to do this now. You own your own life. And what I want you to do is to take action so that you can have the life that you want. We're not only talking job goals, but we're also talking life goals. Because the job is the means to the end. You never really own your job, right? You own your profession. That job can go away at any time. But there's some greater ends that you have, something personal in your life. And if we can better understand what that is, what that big thing that you're about is all about, we can work backwards from that, just like you would any other project management schedule. And the other thing, too, that's interesting about sellers is that we are all solopreneurs. We're Sales Professional Incorporated. You own that business, and unlike a lot of professionals, you're really held accountable for the business that you bring into their business. And unlike other professions where people give you work, in sales, you got to go out there and you got to get the work. Now, a lot of companies like to micromanage their people. They like to tell them exactly how to approach it and how to do it. But if you get the final results that they're looking for, oftentimes companies are going to back off, which means that results equals freedom. What's that got to do with us setting goals for ourselves? A lot of people, myself included, used to just focus on the results. What were the goals that I had in life, and what was the things I was going to do this year, and think how awesome it would be if I had those results. But I didn't think too hard about how I was going to get to those. What would be the steps to obtain those results? I didn't really focus on, what process I would use, step A, step B, step C. And because of that, sometimes when I started working on those results that I wanted, like I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to exercise or any of those kinds of things, I would find myself waning in motivation and I would stop doing it. And then what you tell yourself is like, well, New Year's resolutions are stupid because you don't follow through. But I didn't really understand at the time the importance of having a process, the importance of loving the process. Just last year I was reading Pete Carroll's book on Win Forever. I don't know if you know who Pete Carroll is, but he's the coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And his whole idea was that he loves being a competitor. Being a competitor is the thing that he's all about, but it's the process, it's the preparation. That's what he really, really loves about the whole thing. That it's just not the game on Sunday, but it's the whole week and the months and the years that goes into preparing for it. And the people who are truly and deeply successful in sales, that's the attitude that they've got. Like I have this ritual of getting my morning coffee and then pulling up the tabs of my CRM and then getting some hot new lead overnight and getting excited about following up with them. And then I got my old leads. I got my to-do list that's popping up from the CRM. You need to follow up with these people. You need to send them an email. You need to send them a LinkedIn post or call them or whatever. And then once I do that, once I follow up, I set another reminder and I can forget it and just let the automation remind me. And that's just pretty awesome. And got my little book and I mark off my tick marks. And of course, I'm excited to the opportunity of talking to some new prospects. There's just such a beauty in it and a seasonality to it. Spring seeds to summer and summer goes to fall and fall to winter and leads turn into prospects and prospects turn into customers. Yeah, There's a flow to that that's just so beautiful. I just really love. I believe that goals are the spark of motivation, and that habits are the fuel to keep it burning. And that without a destination, you can never get there. And that's why we need to make a plan. And a plan is just more than just goals. It's your motivations, it's your reasons, it's your habits, as I said, the values that you have. And to make this easy for you all, I've created a template, pretty much the same template like we had last year, but with some modifications and example goals that you can use to help fill it out. So, with no further ado, let's get to it. So you're probably thinking, well, what kind of goals could I set up here that are somehow separate from work? I'm not sure. I've got 5 examples here that I believe might have value to you. Why don't you turn these over in your head and see if they kind of make sense? Like, maybe this year you should make a list of discovery questions. Well, how often have you been in a conversation and it's gotten derailed, or it's got some uncomfortable start? You just don't know how to get it kicked off. Think what the benefits could be of that. It's going to boost your productivity. You're going to stop wasting time talking to people who are never going to buy. You're going to finish the day feeling pretty satisfied that you did a good day's of work. Building a set of discovery questions can really help that. And let me give you some examples of them. Like, make sure you always ask people well, what's your story? How did you end up in this situation? Where are you at in your business and where do you want it to be? What are the obstacles that are stopping you from having success? What are the ramifications to those obstacles? Because you got these things that are barricading you, how's that hurting your business? Like cost overruns and slip schedules and eroding profit margins and declining revenues. And maybe you'd ask them about how would you want to transform that business? Is there some solution that you're looking for? How could that maybe grow your revenue? Or maybe how could that increase the quality of your products? So maybe that could be a potential goal for you, to build a discovery question list. Another thing you might want to do is to build a morning ritual to kick off your day. I'm a strong believer in that the first thing you do in the morning is that you put yourself in the right mindset. Unfortunately, what a lot of people do is as soon as they wake up, they take a look at their phone, and who knows what's going to be on there. If you're looking at the news, it's often bad news, but it might be an email from your boss or from a customer that says that things are falling apart and you need to go work on it, and your whole day is just kind of shot from then on. Instead, what you could do is build yourself a policy that for the first 30 minutes in the morning, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not going to let the world sway my day one way or another. So I'm going to start my day with intention. And I'm not going to be a victim to it anymore. So instead, what are some of the things that you could do? You could go exercise. You could do some reading of something inspirational, journaling, of which I'm a strong proponent of, just preparing your lunch and setting some kind of daily intention that this is what I'm going to do. Have a notion in your mind, these are the 3 or 4 things I want to do, and you write it down on a Post-it note. So a good goal that you might want to have this year is maybe to somehow to build some kind of morning ritual. Another thing you could do, another goal, is to start working on your personal network and to start promoting your personal brand. And what I'm talking here, it just isn't prospecting, but a broader reach. Because, jobs go away. The job that you have now, you're probably not going to be doing in the next few years. And when you start networking and building a set of people that you can rely on, you're like a squirrel saving up acorns for the winter. Think about all your former coworkers and your friends. Maybe you should check on them. Think about your competitors. Think about the competition in your business and the people that work for them. Maybe you should get to know them because maybe you could go work for them someday when things go south. Whenever I used to work at trade shows, I got to know all the salespeople for all the competitors because you just never knew when you might need a new job. The true benefit of all this is that these are people that when you get in a bind, you feel safe about asking them for help, getting their advice, people you can confide in. It's almost like you'd have a Rolodex of recruiters and investors and old bosses, people who, in a moment's notice, would be more than happy to help you out. Well, And you can do this like, just messaging them on LinkedIn, sending them an email, setting up a Zoom call, or just calling them up out of the blue. There's not enough of that in the world. And I really believe in the power of that. So maybe that could be another goal that you have this year, is to really work on your networking. Another one could be nurturing your existing clients. I know you probably should be focusing on new clients, but your existing clients can be awful helpful. They can be terribly helpful in lots of different ways. So if you reach out and you checked up on them and make sure that they're happy, this is a great way of stopping churn. But at the same time, when you ask them what's going on with your business and what kind of other problems do you have, they might give you some ideas on new products your company could start building. They may share an opportunity for you to upsell them. Another thing in the conversation might be they might have some referrals for you, some friends of theirs that might be potential clients for you. And another thing, too, is if you record them or to write some quotes down, they could give you testimonials for why they love your company and why they love you. And another thing about talking to existing clients is like if you were to build a habit in the morning where they're the first people that you call in the morning, so you kind of get yourself in a good mood. Like, how's it going? And there's an 80-90% chance they're going to be very, very happy with everything that you say. It just starts your day off with a smile. So maybe that could be a goal that you start this year, nurturing existing clients. And another goal, the last one that I have in here, is to somehow raise your closing ratio. So, have you ever been in a situation where you've been given a presentation and it's gone pretty well and they've asked lots of questions, and then you're just not sure where to take that conversation? It just kind of ends there. And then, yeah, this is really great. And you're going, yeah, it is really great. And you're kind of hoping they're going to say they want to buy, but they don't. The issue is you're not confident on what to say next because you're not really sure where they're at. So maybe as a goal for this year, you could build a little rubric, which is kind of like it's a term used in education. It's kind of a grading scale, but on a yes/no basis. Maybe you could build this grading scale that says, can they afford it? Is this a good time for them? Does everybody in the organization like it? Do they have the time to roll it out? And you just kind of tick all those off. And if you were to walk through that list with them to make sure it's almost to a certain degree kind of uncovering objections that they haven't mentioned yet, that maybe you can get a better sense of whether this is a good fit for them. And if they say, yeah, this looks like it is a good fit, now we're closing them. Because then you can say, well, what would it take to start this next couple weeks? So as an example, there's 5 goals that maybe you could put. And I'm not telling you should have those 5 goals. You should put on there whatever matters most for you. But I wanted to give you some concrete examples of those goals so you can muse on them and try to find a set that makes sense for you. So let's move on to the plan. As I mentioned, there is a downloadable template for this. It's 1 page. And it's got 5 sections. And each section has 5 items. And, of course, there's a set of goals, 5 goals that you could have on there. And, by the way, you could have more or less goals. I'm just picked that as an example that there might be 5. The way you fill it out is at the very top, there's actually a mission statement, a place where how you envision yourself being in the future. And I think that's a very, very powerful to have that. For example, for last year, what I had, I got last year's right here. What I had was, my mission was to abandon chance and to live a life of intent. I have felt in the past that my plan was to wing it and to see what would happen. That's not what I've been wanting to do anymore. I'm going to bring this mission back over into 2021. Your mission can certainly be different, but this is what mine was. The next section that comes after that is the core values. And these are your values, not the values of the company that you work for. This is the things that really matters to you in life. And if you think about those values and you think about the hard things that you've done in life, it's probably been because of those. Because there's something that you believe in so strongly that has been used to ignite and to motivate you to move forward. My core values, I got 5 of them here that I'm a creator, and I'm happiest when I build and I make and generate new works. Number 2, it's my responsibility to make the world a better place. Number 3, people matter. We're all family. Number 4, your strong body makes for a strong mind. And number 5, your learning never stops. These are the things that I really believe in. And that's what I've got. What are your core values? Put those down on there. Now, the next thing that comes after that are the goals that we've already talked about. Those are the things that you want to attain this year. But the section after that actually asks a deeper question. What are the reasons that you want to have these goals? These goals want to take you someplace. What's the reason for that? Are they like maybe you want to make a lot of money to pay off some debt, or maybe you want to make $1 million by the time you're 40. Maybe you want to buy a home for your family. Maybe you want to start a business. It doesn't matter what it is. But what is the reason for you to have these goals? Write those down, because they're the things that are going to motivate you to attain those goals. And then the last part, the 5th part on this one-page goal, are the daily habits, the key habits that you have. And if you build these things in place, if you were to put habits in place, like I got habits for I've got to walk 6,000 steps every day, I got to journal every day, I have to reach out to 20 clients every day. If you have these habits and you repeat them over and over and over, what do they say? After 30 days, it becomes a part of you. These habits drive behavior, and behaviors complete goals. Like I said, goals are the spark of motivation. Habits are the fuel to keep it burning. So I urge you to go to www.salesbabble.com. At the very top, you will see this episode for goal planning in 2021. Complete the form, print it out, post it someplace where you can read it every day. Like I've got it on my medicine cabinet, or maybe you can have it on a mirror someplace, or in your car, or on the office, on the wall at the office. Something where you can see it all the time, and share it with a few people that this is what you want to do. And when you do that, when you kind of make a promise to people that this is what I'm going to do, the likelihood of you completing it goes up extraordinarily. This is your New Year's resolution. And I know that calendars are kind of arbitrary, right? There isn't anything really all that special about the 1st of January. But at least in our culture, it's a clean break. It's a blank canvas. And it's a new hope. Just a reminder, next week, our guest is going to be Greg Salkovich, a returning guest. And he's going to talk about what it takes to get a job these days during a pandemic. Greg's an expert recruiter in the technology sales space, but his advice is applicable to people in all walks of life, looking to get another job, looking to grow, looking to get promoted. I hope, folks, that you found some value in this week's episode. I really believe in goal setting and planning. I hope maybe you could take some of this advice here and integrate it into your life. 2020 was a challenging year. 2021 is going to be great. Feeling very, very positive about that. So until next week, or I should better say until next year, hope you have a highly successful and a profitable selling year. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.